Ventum, Velos. Say that 5 times fast. Hello everyone, this is Derek from CoreX Training, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about flow through / low back pressure suppressors, maybe where they make sense, maybe where they don't make sense. Just share some thoughts that I have based on my experience with these three. So from the left to the right, starting on the left, we have the PTR Vent 3. This is a relatively new suppressor to the market. This is the 556 bore can. It is additively manufactured titanium, which is pretty trick. We'll talk more about that later. In the center, we have the OSS Ventum 762. And then on the far right, we have the Silencer Co. Velos LBP, low back pressure. The two on either end are in 556, and the center is a 30 caliber can. All three suppressors use the hub system, and they're all set up for Silencer Co. ASR mounts because that's sort of the ecosystem that I live in. Shout out to Silencer Co. for creating the industry standard mount and allowing that standard to propagate. Sort of shame on any suppressor company that doesn't at least have hub as an option. I get it if you have some cool proprietary system that you think is better than everyone else's, that's awesome, but at least have a hub option. I think it is the industry standard. Anyway, I have long been suspicious of flow-through or low back pressure suppressors, mainly because my predominant use of suppressors have been in subsonic applications, like subsonic 22, subsonic 9mm, and I think we'll get there eventually, but right now most flow-through style cans don't sound great with subsonics, but with supersonics it's a little different story, right? So why do you want, or why might you want a low back pressure suppressor? Well, first of all, in the name, right, low back pressure, flow through. With a supersonic round like 556, 545, 308, 762 by 39, the guns are never going to be Hollywood quiet. The best you're doing is knocking it down to, somewhere in the high 130s at the shooter's ear. I don't really care what happens 1 meter off to either side of my muzzle because that's not where my head is. I care about my ear. And so these suppressors do a good job of that, but they also greatly decrease back pressure. So if you're shooting these in a bolt gun, that doesn't make a lot of sense. In a bolt gun, I'll take a standard corked up can, really any gun with a manual action. Likewise, as I mentioned earlier, with subsonic 9mm or 22, I still want a regular corked can because there's not a lot of gas in those projectiles, so it's hard to get gassed out. But in other applications, namely semi-automatic rifle applications, man, these things are pretty cool. They make a lot of sense. All three of them in my testing, to me anyway, sound about the same in my ear. I'm still wearing hearing protection. Again, these are not going to be Hollywood quiet. I just need to cut down the noise and the blast. They all do that just fine. The big thing that these guys do is they don't dramatically increase the pressure and thus speed of the operating system of a rifle. So the vent, my vent 556, primarily lives on my Brand 2 SBR, which is one of the guns I have kitted out for night vision use. And so I really like the fact that I don't get any flash out of the end of the vent. You can see it's pretty crazy looking. That is all 3D printed, additively manufactured titanium. But it works great on the Brand 2. So the Brand 2's standard came with 3 gas settings, sort of normal, adverse, and off. Off was a stupid setting. And so I had my local 0702 Sterling Arsenal mill a tiny little suppressor setting into that third setting. So now I have a suppressed setting. CZ also apparently thought the off was stupid because in the new Bren 3s, they're doing the same thing. The Bren 3s will now have a adverse, normal, and a tiny little third hole for a suppressor use. So good on CZ. And that's where the vent lives. It is very, very, very smooth on the CZ. It really does not increase the cyclic rate of the action. It's a piston system, so it stays pretty cool anyway and clean, but the vent just kind of helps that. So I think it's a good pair. Likewise, the Silencer Co. LBP lives on my HK53 Clone. The roller delayed guns are very, very picky about suppression, mainly due to their locking pieces. There's only so much you can do. And by the way, the shorter the barrel on a roller delayed system, the more finicky it is. So this is an 8.5 inch 5.56. It's very finicky. So using the Silencer Co. Velos allows me to actually suppress this thing, and I can run a unsuppressed locking piece in it, and it actually works. The gun doesn't feel like it's beating itself to death. It's fun to shoot. It's safe to shoot. And so that's why I run it on there. If you try to run a corked can on one of these things, good luck. That's all I'm going to say. Moving on, the Ventum lives on my AR-10. AR-10s are notoriously finicky when you try to suppress them. It's just something in the gas system. It is not like it is fundamentally different than an AR-15. Of course, you can make adjustable gas blocks. You can do it all. There's all kinds of solutions to this problem. Or you can just run a flow-through can. So that's where the Ventum 762 lives. And I gotta say, man, it just makes it so much easier. I don't have to dick around with the gas system. I don't have to worry about any of that stuff. It doesn't increase the bolt velocity, maybe a percentage or two, but it's not really, you can't notice it. It's so small. So that's where that lives. Ventum found a very good home. It also, the Ventum 762 makes a lot of sense on AK platforms. So you see my my AKS74U clone in the back there. It's actually a SLR 104 UR cut down again by local my local guys, Sterling Arsenal. Shout out to Sterling Arsenal. That's a 5.45 gun, and so I run that Wolverine on it mainly because of the looks. But that Wolverine is so overboard for 5.45 that it's not overgassed because it's a tiny little sort of a hot dog down a hallway situation. So it still sounds okay, but it's not really in risk of being overgassed. But on a normal 7.62 by 39 AK, I think the Ventum 7.62 would make a lot of sense. All three of these cans, if they don't come in 5.56 and 7.62 right now, they will soon. I know PTR is making both now, and Silencer Co. and OSS have committed to making the other caliber, and they'll probably start shipping later this year. So you have lots of options. They're not cheap. So a traditional corked can from, AB suppressors or Yankee Hill Machine or, name your favorite suppressor company. They're cheaper. They're a lot cheaper. This is still new technology, and I think there are some use cases for it. If you have a well-tuned AR and you already have the gas blocks or whatever, it's fine. But if you're new to this and you're looking to get into it and you don't really know what the deal is, or you don't feel like tuning things, you don't feel like screwing around with stuff, really give them a look, man. Give the flow-through cans a look. I think there's a there. I look forward to the future of suppression technology, especially with additive manufacturing. It allows you to create things that were literally impossible to machine. I suspect that the next 10 years of suppressor technology will be heavily based around additive and all that kind of stuff. So just a couple of thoughts today. Let me know if you have any experience with these low back pressure cans, how you run them, and which one is your favorite. Thank you.